I don't have a PowerPoint. In fact, I use the very latest technology, and that's called a slide projector. I have students who don't even know what it is. This course is primarily concentrating around a book by Alexander Solzhenitsyn called In the First Circle. And a few words about Solzhenitsyn. He was born in 1917, died in 2008. In 1970, won the Nobel Prize for Literature, primarily based on three works, which were The Life of Ivan Denisovich, A Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, In the First Circle, and Cancer Ward. Solzhenitsyn's life was fraught with problems. He was in World War II, became a captain in the artillery, ultimately wrote a critical letter about Stalin, and went straight from the war into prison in 1945, where he stayed until 1953. And then 3 more years in exile, and then finally was rehabilitated by Khrushchev in his anti-Stalin campaign of 1956. It was at that time that Solzhenitsyn wrote A Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, because Khrushchev said, "I want writers to write against Stalin, not against communism." Basically, that book is about against Stalin, and the first time in modern day that the Gulag was mentioned, that the prison camp system of Russia, of the Soviet Union, was brought to light. The novel In the First Circle has a strange sort of provenance. He wrote it probably in 1955-56, probably put it together while he was still in prison. And it was originally some 97 chapters. He tried to get it published in the Soviet Union, so he abridged it himself to some 85 chapters or so. It didn't get published, almost did, but at the last moment somebody raided the publishing house and broke up the molds for the printing press, and so it was never published, but it was published in the United States in translation in 1968. Solzhenitsyn was exiled from Russia in 1974, and we were in Russia at that time, living in St. Petersburg, actually in Leningrad. Once he came to the United States in 1978, he reconstituted the novel to its original form. That original novel was not published in English until 2009, but that's the edition that we will be reading. It's this edition here. And it's the one that differs from the first one. The first one was called The First Circle, the second one, In the First Circle. Now, the course is going to be based on this novel, but it is written on the background of the entirety of Soviet politics, Soviet thought, Marxist, Stalinist thought from 1917 to 1953. And all of these discussions about what Marxism is, what life is, what truth is, what beauty is, Solzhenitsyn is very much in the mold of Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, and the great novelists of the 19th century. He is not really a 20th century author. All of these sorts of theories are discussed rather openly by the group of prisoners in a prison that is at the highest level of the prison system, because they're all scientists, educated, and they're all doing technological work in the name of trying to capture a diplomat who tried to call the American embassy and warn the American embassy about the Soviet Union trying to steal secrets for the atomic bomb. So we know the whodunit part. It's much like Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment there. We know who did it, The question is, will they catch him? And that's what this novel is. On the very surface level, will they catch him? And it has to do with eavesdropping, listening into telephone conversations, and finding out who did what, and they're building a voice decoder to be able to identify the voice. So it's rather appropriate for the present day as well, about listening in on us. We always felt that the Soviet Union was listening in on us. We weren't always so sure that the NSA was doing it as well. And so the course will involve a lot of Soviet history, and I think it would dovetail really nicely. It's sort of an internal look of the course that Walter is teaching, that's sort of the external look of the Cold War. I don't deal with foreign policy whatsoever, but rather the internal workings of the Soviet Union. And finally, the really nice setup here is Stalin is at the center. He's the spider at the center of the entire web that envelops the Soviet Union. But inside the prison, everybody discusses everything. There is freedom in the prison. Outside the prison, everybody is in prison. Thank you.